But we're going to start soon, man. We're going to talk about this Ronin network and why there's a ton of potential in this sector. Also share people's experiences and their perspectives on how things are looking. And maybe get some educational value from this as well, learning from people that have been in the ecosystem for a while, maybe have a bit more knowledge on the technology aspects of things, and then also share some of the things that we can be looking at coming to the Ronin network, in the near future, and how it's looking to present day. So it's going to be fun. We're going to talk about some stuff. Shout out my boy Nix has just got in here. That's good. That's good. What's good? I know he must be living it up in Vietnam. Shout out to Axie Week going crazy. But we're gonna give it a moment or so. I'm just in touch with somebody coming through to try and co-host with me right now. And yeah, man. Hopefully, if you get this tweet out there, let's see how many Lunassians we can bring in here. And then also we're trying to bring externals in here as well. This is Ronin, remember, so we're not just straight Axie. But we bring this volume in. We bring a lot of people in. We're gonna have ourselves a good discussion. But it's Sunday, the Lord's Day, for the Christian church, Catholic church, which is what I grew up on. But I thought that Sunday is one of those days where just generally people like to slow down a little bit. Listening and taking things on board is something that people are more open to on this day. So every Sunday I thought about, and shout out to Captain Carrie, he's in the chat right now. I'll give him the props, but he actually mentioned this on Twitter a week before I made an announcement to say I was going to do this, right? I very much expected Cap to go ahead with it, but being a vocal voice still in the community anyway, and being able to have a space like this where listeners can come on stage if you put a point forwards, we do open that up. The opportunity is going to be there anyway, but it needs to be done. I think communicating to a lot more people within the ecosystem will be a benefit for sure, because it will help align a lot of the perspectives. It will help align some of the narratives, things that are going around, the information that is going around can almost be verified in these spaces, because you'll have people who are deep within the ecosystem, or hands-on, may even be developers working with Sky Mavis themselves, and they can come through and give us clarity. Not only that, but you get the ability to be educated. Some things general consumers will not understand, and I think that's a big thing that we have to take up as participants in the ecosystem. Is it actually is our responsibility to, if it's not us ourselves, but at least have the vocal aspect to encourage the information to be translated better to a consumer, right? And what I mean by that is, if you were to come into this space on your own, and you don't have history in product development, you're not a developer, you've barely used blockchain technology before, there are a lot of boundaries in between, you actually getting that aha moment where you discover the value that is here and the potential for value that is here. And I think that gap is too wide as it is right now. So as a community, we do have a responsibility to kind of bridge that gap and tighten that gap up. And one way that we can do that is by tightening our own understandings of it up as well. This really was a leap of faith. I'm very much putting myself in a vulnerable position. I say that meaning, as much as I spend my time researching, as much as I spend my time involving myself within the ecosystem and networking within it, as much as I do my own research, there are aspects of blockchain technology and, of course, the products that were being presented by Sky Mavis and Ronin that I might not have full understanding of. I don't mind being a public figure to come forward and say that I don't get this stuff, so that somebody in the ecosystem can compassionately come into the space like this and be able to describe it, not only for me, but then also to listeners as well. So I think it's going to be something that's very important. This is week 1. I'll be bluntly honest. The space that we're in right now had no pre-initial plans in terms of a host that was going to come through. The only plan that I had was that I wanted to open the floor to let people present their experience so far and their current perspective on Ronin, right? It's an important month, which we can touch on towards the end. But first and foremost, this is going to be a common theme in this space. But any listener that would like to come on to this as a speaker right now, and you can present your experience with Ronin and, you know, how you see things at present, and maybe, you know, suggest some areas of improvement and things that stand out to you. Anybody that would like to do that, if you would raise your hand or put an emoji in there that suggests to it, and I can bring you on to as a speaker here. So I'd like to hear it. I can't lie, I'd like to hear Nick's. Personally, for me, you know, you're quite closely tied in, and there's a lot of work that you do, which is very, very much appreciated. I think it might be helpful to some people in here to kind of hear your general perspective on it as well. I know there's not things that you get like behind the scenes, secret information or whatever it might be, but just like your personal perspective on this. I know you're a gamer at heart as well. So I could think it could be, you know, important for you to connect with some of the speakers here as well, and give them some encouragement to maybe come here themselves. You know, you've been in the field, you've done this before, but no, Nix, bro, thank you for coming through first and foremost, and yeah, I think that's where I want to start off with your personal perspective on Ronin at the moment, and you know, how do you what do you think stands out or did stand out for you when you first really realized how great Ronin was as a product first and foremost, but then also as the capabilities of an ecosystem?
Yo, thank you. Yeah, so yeah, hey everyone. So it's actually 2 a.m. right now here in Vietnam, and my flight is in a few hours. So
Oh, what a legend!
Yeah, I'm just like feeling lazy to pack my stuff, but yeah, I should be doing that soon. But cool spaces. Yeah, let me just say that, you know, I'm really excited about what's what's to come for Ronin. Um, I'm someone who's deep into NFTs. It's not just like Axie. Like I play. I have bags everywhere, man. I have like
Yeah.
I play around other chains, whatnot. I'm around. I go around, and to be honest with you, like I haven't seen anything as smooth of as an experience as a Ronin wallet.
Yep.
Like it just doesn't. And there are games that I play in Polygon where I try to breed and like it takes 5 hours or whatever, or like
Yeah.
I
We're
do a
spoiled.
transaction. Yeah.
We actually are really spoiled. I think that's one of the biggest highlights, and it's something that attracts me over and over again to Axie.
Right.
It is so seamless. It's
Smooth,
very
right?
smooth.
Yeah.
It's extremely smooth.
Yeah. Shout out to the tech team. Like really, I have nothing to do with that, but like, it's just a smooth experience, and you know, like I feel like what we have here is we've set the stage basically that everything's ready. You
Hmm.
know, like the tech is ready. You have a raging community who's hungry
Yeah.
for more stuff on Ronin, right? And it's just a matter of time, basically, that we get to see this unfold. Now I'm super excited, man. Like, thank you for doing this spaces, like getting the conversation started. I think it's needed.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a huge month as you guys see the Ronin Discord. You know it's about.
You know,
I don't even need to.
Nix,
It's popping.
Nix,
Yeah.
I wanna just come in and say real quick. This is terrible from me. I was saying it on stream. I'm live on Twitch as we do this as well, so we do get some visuals as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm embarrassed. I'm doing a radio Ronin, and I've been like, I am 100%, backing the
You're not
Ronin
part of the
ecosystem.
Discord?
I am not in the Discord now. Just for like every listener in here's reference, because maybe there might be some, there might be people in the ecosystem that are huge fans of Axie. Like they're attentive every day, and they're not even in the Ronin Discord. How important a component is the Ronin Discord?
Oh yeah, and you're not the only one actually. So I won't I won't give you flack for that. I
Yeah.
think we launched the Ronin Discord like during or like made it publicly known. Like it was like in the middle of the longest like off season we've ever had in Origin. So like it was a down like time for a lot of people. So I understand like some people just learned about that Discord, but I think it's really important because you get to see like a little bit of a peek at the curtain, like, or
Yeah.
behind the curtain, because like some people will just like ask psych out something and like he'll just respond and
Yeah,
like
I've definitely
the
seen the
team
drama.
like
I've
gets
seen the
away.
drama, but yeah, I haven't gone in there. Like, I think it's I've been pretty ignorant. I can be honest about that. I've been ignorant in that
Right.
aspect. But yeah, I think adding that now. To me moving forwards and being able to communicate in there, it's obviously a no-brainer. So for
Yeah.
any of the listeners that are in here, if you are part of the Axie ecosystem, or you've been tinkering around and thinking about getting involved or discovering more about Ronin, getting into the Ronin Discord probably is the first thing that you should go ahead and do, so you
Yeah.
can see from the insides.
It's actually like it's so anyone can join, right? And but also, I think for you to be like, there's a general chat, but also like you need like 100 Ron if you want to be able to chat in the Ron, official like the
Yeah,
Ron holders channel.
yeah. So
So that's
similar to
just
the
like
AXS.
another info. Yeah,
Yeah,
just something to keep in mind for the folks who who want to like join the conversation. But yeah, but you don't need 100 Ron to like join the conversation. There's a general chat,
hmm,
but just saying there's another like chat for holders.
yeah, for course, of course. Now it does make a lot of sense. One person that is listening in that I'd like to hear their perspectives on the Ronin ecosystem. He's probably sitting there thinking, "Don't say my name right now," but I'm gonna. But first and foremost, Nix, I really genuinely appreciate you for coming up and sharing that. You've
Yeah,
been on a hectic schedule this week. Just
dude.
just last little thing I want to do. Ask, like, can you tell us about the experience this week and what it was like? I know this isn't Ronin related, but it
Yeah.
kind of is.
Well, it kind of is because like, and I'll say it because like Axie Doll
Yeah.
really is like it was their coming out party in my opinion.
Yep.
It was a great tournament. Like they're Tio's here, everyone's just hyped, and I was looking at the Twitch chat and like the Twitter chat like as because I was doing the socials right for Axie, and like I saw a bunch of comments where people were like, "Wow, this looks exciting.
Yep.
Wow, this actually looks fun." And when
Bro,
someone
it is.
comments that, yeah, but like you do when someone comments that, right? It means it's their first time seeing it,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not playing it, right? Like you wouldn't comment that if it's like you're playing. So what that told me is that like Axie Doll is like primed
Yep.
to kind of like break out. Like it is in a good position, right? So I'm bullish on them. Um, Two Brazilians went head to head on the final. Sourbeck, the eventual
Ooh.
champion.
A bit of samba, a little Ronaldinho versus Ronaldo. What's it?
It
Yo.
was great. Uh, and then yeah, we wrapped up Origins today. We also gave like some of the pro players, well the pro players or the content creators, whoever else was part of that E4E entourage was we gave them like a small tour of the Sky Mavis HQ here in Ho Chi Minh.
Yeah, amazing.
That was fun. Yeah, it was cool. So overall, like super solid week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm flying out in a few hours, and it all ends. But
Amazing, bro. Well, listen, yo, safe travels, my bro, and again, genuinely like appreciate you for
yeah,
coming up here and being the
thanks,
first.
man.
You were the first one, man. Put it in the history books. We gonna talk
Yeah,
about it
for
in a
sure.
year, because one thing we gotta do is we gonna stay consistent with these
Okay,
spaces now.
now that you said that, like I want it to count, right?
Yeah,
So
no, seriously, bro. It's been something,
yeah,
personally for me as a content creator, it's been very hard to find that consistency. And having experienced a bit of it in the past and the effects that it was able, to cause, it's very rewarding. I'm in a much better place now, and that's why I've decided to come back with this. And I think we're in a much better place as well. So, it's all steam ahead as we go from here.
go for it, man. Great job. Yeah. I'll be a fly on the wall. I'm gonna pack my bags and listen to y'all. So
Bet.
cool.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you. But yeah, man.
Thank you.
Tons and tons of things happening in and around the space. Of course, we are here talking about Ronin, and the title, as you can see, Infinite Games on Ron. That narrative is the epitome of the attraction for me. And one of the reasons I'm here, and I don't mind talking about it at all, is the fact that we're so far advanced in terms of a blockchain that provides an infrastructure that's easy to come into and communicate with. Ways to talk about that they have spoken of in Substacks. If you're on the Twitch, you can see the visuals for this. But they've spoken about, it was earlier in January, with the Sky Mavis developer portal coming out, and how the API references are easier for companies to come in here and actually work alongside and connect quickly with Ronin and integrate, you know, their game development with a Ronin system. I generally believe that once the doors really open and, you know, opportunity is realized, we talk about what Nix was just talking about with Axie Doll. In Cairo's live stream yesterday, we were talking about Axie Doll being arguably as adoptable a game as any other game in the ecosystem right now, maybe even more so, and how that comes from community development. Something I'd like to do later on in the series is bring someone like Tio in here to be able to talk to you guys. I know I did a podcast with him last year, but he's an amazing individual who knows so much as well. So he's got a plethora of things and experiences he could share with us. Cairo, talking about your stream yesterday, I don't know how you feel.
Gila, sorry to cut you off.
Go.
So can you hear me?
Yeah.
Dude, this just happened like an hour ago, and I want to share this with everyone because I realized something. You were talking about Doll, and you said you guys were chatting about it. Dude, the reason why I'm like super bullish on Doll. So I was talking to Sourbeck earlier. Yeah. The champion, like the Axie Doll champion. He's the index of Doll, basically, like, you know. Yeah. So anyway.
Is it the index of Doll? Yeah, I see.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, like the OG number one.
Yeah, the first.
Dude, you know what's crazy, guys? Everyone listening here, I'm like, you might, maybe if you haven't played Doll or whatever, but here's the craziest part about Doll. Axie Doll has a legitimate chance to be the number one game in their category. Like, yeah, there's a zombie survival, whatever. Like, there are other games like it, but like, it has a shot to be the best game in that category. Yeah. And Sourbeck is kind of like said that because he said, like, yeah, dude, I played all the other zombie survival like games, and they don't compare. Doll honestly is better. So imagine that, like, Doll can literally be the number one game in its category. So just some food for thought, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but like, that's bullish. That's bullish.
For real. No, I can agree with you there. And another huge point coming out of the tournament itself, that Doll was, you know, where they were at, the E4E minors. Huge props to that team for the production quality. I mean, amazing. Generally, I did go check it out. I know some of you guys, I wish I wasn't a noob right now on these Twitter spaces, because I'll be adding these tweets so you guys could just reference them and see it themselves. But 1437 spoke out earlier today. I don't know if any of you guys saw it, talking about the production of the stream for E4E. What is it? Esports for everyone? It's Esports for everyone, right? I'm not mistaken on it. And how the production quality was all the way up there, top tier, but maybe the tournament itself, the rules in terms of it being on the old patch and those types of things, took away from, you know, the viewership interest. But if you think about it, like, we're already producing this production level. It's this quality production that's happening right now. The rewards that are coming out of these tournaments, like all of those attractions that are huge for players and player bases, like, they're there. Like, we do have them, and we have access to them, and we have access to people who are, you know, bullish enough, daring enough, to go ahead and experiment and put these things on and to make it a thing. Because now people that come into Axie, you can dream of that because you've seen it. It's actually tangible. All right, so I think these are huge steps that we keep on taking, and are very important. But I did say his name, and then I stopped, but I'm coming back to you, bro. You're not escaping. Mr. Cairo is in here. I know you're a listener right now, bro, but if you would like to come on the stage, I'd like to share some thoughts with you and maybe have a bit more conversation, because you are right now going crazy in Axie Homeland. We actually have the #1 land player in this conversation right now, and we're gonna bring him onto stage, and maybe you can share some of your thoughts as well. Because Cairo, you know what? One thing I can respect the hell out of Cairo is he's 100% going to tell you how he feels. He's not hiding it. So Cairo, a good friend of mine, we were able to network together and build a better relationship during AxiCon in Barcelona. So, bro, take the stage, man. How are you feeling about Axie Homeland first and foremost, and then we can evolve into your experiences with Ronin throughout that journey and everything like that.
What's up? Yeah, man. Homeland's cool. It's a grind. I have a unique opportunity in the land because I'm able to be a steward for Flying Falcon's Genesis plot estate, which is the largest Genesis estate in Axie, which is really cool. So honored to be able to do that. But I have a lot of fun in the game. I think that it easily has the most potential out of any Axie game that's out there. I think it is like miles ahead of every other experience that is in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of work, but I mean, for the statements that I just made for a game that's only been in development for a year, that should say a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that overall for Axie in general, it has the most potential to like really utilize the Axie assets and give value to them, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And I think that it is the opportunity for the first social experience inside of Ronin, which would be cool.
Bro, you said it. You said it, and I love that you said it because it wasn't even in my mind, but you brought it right back. The social elements, bro, I don't know if it's just my imagination, and I don't like to get ahead of myself, but I just see so much potential for Homeland to be social centric. Like it could literally be a platform in which is almost like a Twitter, but for the Axie community. Essentially, like you could go to those lengths to create something like that. Do you think that's something that they will do, or it's just going to be social elements in terms of maybe voice chat or those types of things?
I mean, it's hard to tell. The original vision for land has changed about 1 million times, especially in the last year. I think that, like you said, there's a lot of opportunity there for it to have all of those platforms. I mean, everybody has played some kind of game where you're in an MMO and you can go to like a central point in the game, and then there's a whole bunch of people like chatting and selling stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I definitely see the opportunity in land for that kind of stuff. But I mean, currently it's just a lot different than like what originally was pitched for land. I mean, right now it's like more of a Clash of Clans style game where you're building everything up and you're only really focused on your solo plot or like whatever, just like the game mechanics of like progression and like the leaderboard and things like that. There's nothing else to the game besides that part of the game. So it's basically all just like speed running right now. There's not like the RPG elements of it yet, which hopefully that gets added. I mean, in terms of like the development team, Leo as the head and the other guys that are in the land channel all the time, those guys like answer questions more than any other Sky Mavis member I've ever talked to. They're very open about how they build, and I am bullish. I'm more bullish on them than anybody. So
yeah, no, that's good to hear. That's good to hear, bro. Ronin, though, man, as a macro, I don't think I've ever asked you, like, your belief. Yeah. What? Is it too early? Are we too early in the series for this shit?
No, I mean, look, like what you guys said earlier, I think Ronin is by far the smoothest blockchain experience that I've been a part of as someone who's been here for a year and a half. I joined, and I think that Ronin was a big reason why, or like the ease of use of Ronin was one of the biggest reasons why it stuck for me anyways. But I mean, they have so much to prove. Ronin has so much to prove to not just, I mean, yeah, it's so much to prove just for the Axie community and like the Ronin community. And then on top of that, it's got to like completely break the chains and the stigma to the rest of the NFT community. It's got to get rid of the big black cloud of the hack for everyone. It's got to actually come out with some kind of product that is usable, aka more games, and those games have to be good. And I mean, they're just very far behind a lot of the other chains that are out there currently in terms of brand awareness, picking up like projects that are entering the space with like big name recognition. I mean, the only reason I'm saying any of this is people were talking shit on Polygon just a little bit ago about how long it takes to do transactions. But whenever you go and look at what Polygon has done over the past year and a half compared to Ronin, it looks sad.
Yeah.
In comparison.
Yeah. No, bro, this shit is important. Like, I said this before, like, this is meant to be like a formal space. Like, it might get rowdy in here, but I think these conversations need to be they need to be put on, they need to be put on blast, bro. We gotta have them. We have to hash out how people are feeling, thinking, and rationalize it, bro. Like, there's no way for the community to be able to communicate and be heard properly without doing that. So I think you raise amazing points. We have really, in comparison to chains like you're saying, Polygon, the brand awareness building hasn't been there. But I'd argue, and now you may come at me for this, but I'd argue to say that it's actually not important right now. I come into it from a perspective of, I always understood that this was going to be macro and it was going to take a while. And I don't know if being in the most advantageous position right now in terms of brand awareness, in terms of products available, like all of those things, I think Ronin is well and truly, and even more so capable than to be competing or doing more than some of these blockchains. I would argue to say that it's an actual decision to not be, and that it's instead better to focus on fundamentals that are important.
I just don't. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I think that positioning is extremely important, and to each person, a certain vantage point can look better than the others. So, sure, somebody could argue and say that being the top dog right now is not the best. I don't know if I really agree with that argument, because it's a lot like anything else, where if you're positioned correctly, a lot more good fortune is going to come to those who are positioned better. And the reason why I say that, it's just like, if you're the most popular name out there, you're the most reputable name out there, you're the most consistent name out there, you will no longer have to go out and give the pitch for your blockchain to be the one that everyone wants to use, but rather your product will do the advertising for you, which is basically what Polygon has done. Polygon got a lot of really good deals early. They worked really hard on that side of things. They are very westernized in their branding. They have a lot of really, really good team members that work there that are like really big names that people in the industries know. And that is a big game changer versus a company like Sky Mavis that is primarily based out of Vietnam, which it's just, there's cultural differences there and cultural relevance there that is very important in terms of like getting deals. And so it's like, we may be sitting quiet right now and building, and this is where I say we need to prove ourselves. So I say, like, the games that are supposed to be being announced at the end of the month, that's like extremely important.
It's a must do situation, at least even if it's not. Go on.
Well, if they do not hit it out of the park, I don't know what the next rung on the ladder is for Sky Mavis to like show everyone that they're serious. And I mean, we've seen over the past year the struggle of getting anything else onto the Ronin network. So if the first things that are announced aren't complete smash hits, I mean, it's similar position to how Land was. Land had been hyped up for a very long time, had a lot of different iterations of the game, and people were scared it was going to have, I mean, everybody sees it in gaming. Whenever something gets hyped, it gets hyped. It doesn't quite hit the mark or hit it out of the park, and it never recovers from that. And I don't know how similar that's going to be for an entire blockchain. I think that Ronin, like, we all know how good the experience is whenever you're using it. So that obviously has to say something for itself. But a lot of not only just or Sky Mavis's problem, but Axie's problem is we basically don't embrace like being westernized. And I'm not saying every company needs to be completely westernized to like be successful, but there's just a lot more to the branding and you know, just being like the out in the front of everyone that is really important, I think.
Yeah, no, you are right. You know, even this, you know, this space, the ideals behind this space is so that a Western market can be more in tuned. You know, I've moved the space back just to be more accommodating for the Western world as well. I think we have a huge fan base in Western societies that you know, have the ability to start these inroads and start branching out. But it's almost like it's tough to. It's very tough to. Yeah, I don't really bring people into the space at the moment.
Like,
They don't. Okay, you mentioned this on stream yesterday. All right, to give context to the rest of the chat, Cairo mentioned something along the lines that nothing goes major, right? Things get popular in America. You're right, but I would say the language isn't right. It's more so that things will get popular where they get popular, and then they'll be seen and then adopted by America and Western culture, and then they get exponentially bigger. Their reach becomes exponentially bigger once it's in America, and then it gets outsourced to everywhere else. So it gets popular where it gets popular, but then it grows in terms of its reach once it hits America. So you are right with that, and I think the same thing would happen with Axie, and it's still very much possible.
All in all, I'll close my point with, I think that Ronin is in a good position. Whether or not it is in the best position, that's up for debate, but it is in a good position. My opinion is that they have to 100% knock out these game announcements, and there has to be good games.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think that they can't have anything to do with Axie. I think that if they have anything to do with Axie, it is not a good thing.
You think it's time to, just a question, you think it's time to really start broadening and branching outwards?
Look, I'm just going to be honest. Like, I and many others in here love Axie.
Yeah.
We have a deep love for the game, so we are biased. But when you look in the outer Web3 community, and then you look into Web2, even anybody who hears Axie Infinity is usually off put just by hearing that name.
Yeah.
And that's not a great thing. So for Ronin, I mean, I think that everybody knows that Sky Mavis has been kind of betting heavy on Ronin. And I think a lot of that bet will come with branching away from Axie and trying to bring users into the whole ecosystem and hope that that flows back into the other games like Axie.
Yeah.
But in terms of getting anything, I mean, if we're going to get anything to pop off again, I don't see it having the name Axie Infinity anywhere near it. So,
yep. I mean, I'm at a point now where I welcome that, bro. I'll embrace that. We both are quite similar. Although you are much better, I will say it now openly, and you know, whatever, cool, it is what it is. But you are much better at FPSs than me. But FPS is like something that I will literally cry tears of joy if Ronin gets an FPS and those types of things.
I doubt we see it.
You don't think you're gonna see it?
Dude,
Yo, we gotta start the conversation though, because if it's never gonna happen, but you start people saying like, "What do you mean it's never gonna happen?" and people want it to happen, then like it might have to be reconsidered. I think it's a natural, you know, if you're gonna be
it's hard in Web3, man. Like every other game genre is just about 1,000,000 times easier to make than an FPS.
Yeah,
and especially a good one. And I mean, dude, you have the biggest billion-dollar gaming companies still figuring out anti-cheat for their games. You think that a Web3 company who builds an FPS is going to be able to build a proper anti-cheat? That's not like, I just don't see it anytime soon.
Yeah. There are a lot of obstacles, but yeah, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for coming up and sharing this with us. Man, yeah, like Cara was saying, it is a huge month. You know, we've had people who are quite big icons in the space, essentially, talking about it as well. Ones to mention, people like Cloud White. So you know, the pressure's definitely on, and I think we will see something. It is the end of Q1, so something should really be coming out. In terms of what we'll see, we don't know, but ultimately, the single-sided staking is also going to be hopefully on that list, and we'll get access to that soon. Funny story earlier in the week. I was actually talking with Captain Carey and a couple of the guys in the Ronin Social Network Discord, talking about Ronin and staking, and how staking, normally you'd have to make the liquidity pool tokens, so you'd have to half the amount of capital that you have, half in Ronin, half in a WETH or whatever it might be. So you actually kind of lose the circulating supply of RON. People are actually taking the value of RON out and putting it into a different token at that time to make the LP token. So I was originally like, oh, staking's coming back out again. Look what happened the last time staking came out, and it was quite worrying. But single-sided staking is definitely a factor to change that. Now, is there anybody in the crowd right now who may know a thing or two about single-sided staking, or doesn't know anything about it, might want to ask some questions on it? Please raise your hands. But if not, guys, don't want to keep this too long. We ain't gonna just sit here and talk mush. Hopefully the viewership and the attendance continues to grow as we keep putting these on. Every Sunday is now the schedule. If we feel the need to have more, we will have more. But keep the ears to the streets. The streets being Twitter, I'm always gonna be active. I'm a shit poster, so what can you expect? But yeah, man, guys, I appreciate you for coming through. Anybody still in the crowd that would like to ask a question or maybe close up on some points? The floor is... My fucking light just fell off the wall. That's crazy. Sorry. There's still some room for you to do so. But other than that, family, it's been Radio Ronin, and we're going to talk, and we're going to continue to talk for the remainder of this year, and so on and so forth. Let's keep it going. But ultimately, I'm a run Maxi, bro. It's going crazy. I think we will make the strides necessary. I'm excited for the end of the month and to see what will come out. And I'm still extremely excited to see the development of the games we already have at the moment. And yes, I stand with Cairo. I would love to see us actually branching out and maybe having some fresh things floating around in the ecosystem. But
Yo, Gila,
go ahead.
let me post this question to you and to everyone then. Like, so you guys mentioned FPS, right?
Yeah.
Is that the game? Is that the number one kind of game y'all want to see?
I think it's hard because you won't get a general consensus from every single existing member. But
sure.
I think if like a large majority, even if it wasn't like their main desires, would love to just play an FPS. I think there's a social element to FPSs that's huge as well, which helps build a lot of passion and strengthen the communities. And then also for esports factor, if the game is, a really high skill cap, then that you might see a huge sense of passion in that field as well. Like Cairo literally said, the hardest thing would be the avoiding people being able to cheat and to break the systems and things like that. So it's a hard barrier to get over and accomplish. But if it was, in my opinion, it should always be a factor if you're going to be a games a games blockchain. And essentially some people like to compare the vision to a Web3 Steam. Essentially FPS has to be a part of that. It's a non-negotiable, really and truly, in my opinion. If I'm looking at Ronin as that we are going to be hosting a world of games for Web3, that essentially is it has to happen.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, like, for me, like, that's kind of like how I want it to be as well, right? Like, imagine like every category, like you don't even need initially, you don't need like a bajillion games, but like having like solid titles per like vertical, like oh, there's a very cool MMORPG in Ronin, or oh, there's a very good shooter game, like that would be the dream scenario, at least like initially, just in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think as well, I think we're going in the right direction, and I might talk more about this next week. But having things like DOL and developer games, Ray Lights, all those things, like that is a route that I enjoy, that's being explored, because it allows the volume to increase. I mean, it's difficult enough to create a game. I don't know the ins and outs of creating a game, what it takes from start to finish. I don't know what that process looks like, what it costs, or how hard it is to accomplish. But ultimately, I think that if Ronin becomes a space where these indie games can just pop up and come out, and it almost is like a mini clips type of deal, that aspect is as fun as a very well structured marketplace of games. I think Ronin can be both and can do both very well. But it's the time factor, and I think because we live in a society now that doesn't really do well with delaying gratification, the pressure pot boils very quickly, and to a very high degree. So it's a tough spot to be in. And I'm still just quite confident in the time, because if you're being realistic, right, even as an investor, you have to first understand the fields in which you're investing in. Like if you were to invest in a gaming centered blockchain but have no idea on how long start to finish a game takes to develop, maybe I, even myself, now have to go and think, okay, maybe I'd like to understand that field. I'd like to understand that process more, so I can be realistic with my estimations instead of just saying we need new games, we need new games, we need new games. So there's a whole lot for me as personal development, but I also think resonates with members of our community as well. So I'm gonna put them out here. Cairo requested to be speaker again. I hope he's got something to say, bro. You wanted to add on to points?
Yeah, I was just gonna comment on what Nick said. Basically, I think it was Psych Out that tweeted the other day that was saying that Ronin was trying to leverage creator communities and like the creator economy. I can't remember. I'm paraphrasing, but
yeah.
I mean, if ideally, if in Web3, there is not an ecosystem that has a strong set of games that multiple creators are consistently creating content on. I know that the Elixir launcher has been trying to do it with a lot of like Mutables games and like things like Grit and a couple other things, but they just don't have fleshed out experiences enough to like actually get like consistent content created on it other than just like basically ads. And I think that if we do get a bunch of separate styles and genres of games, like we already have the survival game with Doll, we have a card game with Origins, we have a like world builder with Land, we have I mean, who knows what else is coming out of the builders program, if like that Mario Kart looking game is real or happens. Or
yeah, that needs to hurry up.
That kind of stuff. I mean, if we get all of these, if Ronin comes out with multiple experiences over the next year or two, and they are grindable experiences that content can be created on, then there is definitely an opportunity there for Web3 creators to flock to the Ronin ecosystem to become Ronin creators and basically just focus on Ronin related games. And that is something that I think Sky Mavis should definitely capitalize on, because I think that there's a lot of people just looking for like that. It would be nice to just only have to be involved in one ecosystem and not try out everything that's new every whatever days. It's just so
it's huge incentive wise as well. I think you'll see the reaction from a creative community that is being incentivized in those ways, in my opinion, would be huge. Like there's creators that's still doing amazing things, a lot of stuff, putting in a lot of effort. And yes, I still think Ronin or Sky Mavis and Axie Infinity as the main portion of it, from my experiences, they incentivize creatives in good ways. Could it be done better at a larger scale? Yes, there's ways that we could probably more so incentivize, but more games themselves will do that as well. But yeah, I think Cairo brings a great point still with the fact that we're going to work off of a career-centered, creative-centered community, where you're going to have creatives who are pushing the content just for Ronin games and being incentivized to do that. I think that's going to be a nice thing to have for players that will stand the test of time and stick it out. So, but yeah, listen, fam. It's been about 45 minutes. I've said when I put these on, I didn't want them to be long. It's going to be more short form content, unless something crazy brazy goes down and we are stuck here in the middle of a back and forth. We might take a bit longer, but originally it was planned for 30 minutes. So I do appreciate everybody that stayed for the longevity. My guy X, I can see you requesting. Listen, bro, we're gonna be here next week. We'll be able to bring you up, maybe tweet it out, and we can continue the conversations through text on Twitter. But this is gonna be the end of the first episode. So shout out to our guests today that came up and spoke, Nix and Cairo. Much love to you guys. Appreciate you. And I hope you guys listening in were able to, you know, at least gain a bit more perspectives on what might be coming in the near future for Ronin, and also start to think about what you might want from Ronin in the future. Maybe even how you approach it as an investor, and maybe be more realistic with some of the expectations as well. Who knows? But if you liked it, let me know. Feedback is very important. I'm going to be doing these anyway. So every Sunday you're going to stay here. We're going to be around. Next week, I'll put my hand on my heart right now. Everyone in the Twitch chat can see that. I'll put my hand on my heart right now. Next week will be much more structured. Today was a really put my toes in, test the waters, see what happens. Next week, we're bringing you the topics. I'm bringing you a co-host, and we're going to have a very centered topic of discussion, and we'll go deep dive into that. But shout out to you lot that came through. Honestly, my love goes out to you. Shout out to everybody that's in the Ronin community. And let's keep it going, man. I'm bullish on the rum. My rum bag's going to be nice in a year. I mean, and yo, you best believe it, man. Because I honestly think I'm biased as fuck. So I'm going to be that. I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be biased as fuck. But for me, nobody's doing it like Ronin right now. Nobody is. And on that note, thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evenings, the rest of your days, or the rest of, it might be morning for you, so enjoy that as well. But much love, and thank you guys. Take care.